Finally, after 3 long years, Squid Game Season 2 is here, and just like you, I've been eagerly waiting for it. In today's video, I will recap the second season of Squid Game. But before we begin, if you haven't watched the recap of Season 1 yet, you can find the link in the video description below. Make sure to check it out. Now, let's get started. The second season begins exactly where Season 1 ended. Here, Seong is seen conversing with the frontman. The frontman tells Seong that he has no one left and should have gone to America to be with his daughter. He adds that Seong will regret not doing so. But Seong confidently replies that no matter where the frontman is, he will find him. After their conversation, Seong realizes that the frontman is tracking him. He inspects his body and finds a tracker implanted behind his ear, which the frontman has been using to keep tabs on him. The next scene shows Jun-ho, who survived despite being shot. The series then skips 2 years ahead. We see Jun-ho reporting to his senior about the Squid Game and the island. However, no one believes him. Instead, they think he's delusional. This disbelief arises because none of the evidence from the island, including the photos Jun-ho sent, ever reached them due to network issues. However, there's one man, Captain Park, who believes Jun-ho. Captain Park is the same man who saved Jun-ho when he was drowning after being shot. For the past 1.5 years, Jun-ho and Captain Park have been trying to locate the island, but their efforts have yielded no results. Frustrated, Captain Park advises Jun-ho to let go of the island and the games. On the other hand, Seong has also been searching for the salesman for the past 2 years. He had hired a man named Mr. Kim, who has been deploying his men to different stations to find someone playing the duchy game. Seong tells Mr. Kim that 2 years have passed since the last game and that the salesman must now be selecting people for the new one. He instructs Mr. Kim to expand their search and gives him 10 million won to fund the effort. Seong warns that if they don't catch the salesman this time, they'll have to wait another year. Mr. Kim intensifies the search, but days pass without any success. Then one day, Mr. Kim and Woo Sok spot the salesman playing duchy with another man at a station. They quickly inform Seong, who instructs them to follow the salesman. Mr. Kim and Woo Sok tail the salesman to a location and try to catch him, but the salesman outsmarts them and traps them instead. Meanwhile, Seong is stopped by Jun-ho and his team for speeding. They fine him and let him go. Jun-ho finds Seong's name familiar and starts investigating him. Seong, following Mr. Kim's directions, arrives at the location but finds no one there. Later, it is revealed that the salesman has captured Mr. Kim and Woo Sok and taken them to Seong's hotel. There, he forces them to play rock, paper, scissors. Mr. Kim loses the game and the salesman kills him. The salesman then tells Woo Sok to reveal everything to Seong. On the other hand, Jun-ho, while digging into Seong's background, remembers meeting him earlier when he was searching for his brother. He realizes Seong knows something about the games. Jun-ho traces the car used by Seong, which was rented from a company. He visits the company's office, where he finds a dummy of the salesman, a game card, and Seong's hotel address. At the hotel, Seong confronts the salesman, who advises him to go back to his daughter. Seong reveals that he saw the salesman at the station that day and decided to stay back because he wanted to end the game for good. Seong asks about the salesman's boss and accuses him of using people as pawns for murder. The salesman then shares his own dark past. He reveals that he was once a participant in the game. When others died, he burned their bodies because he believed they were worthless people. He admits that he even killed his father, who was forced into the game without remorse. That's when he realized he was destined for this work. The salesman then challenges Seong to play a game with him, believing Seong to be unworthy of winning. He claims that Seong's victory in the past was just luck. The game begins with the salesman loading a single bullet into a gun. The rules are simple. They take turns pulling the trigger, and the last person standing wins. Seong agrees to play, and they take turns shooting at themselves. When it's the salesman's turn, he meets his end. At the same time, Jun-ho arrives at the hotel to investigate and finds Woo Sok in one of the rooms. Jun-ho asks him about Seong. Meanwhile, Seong discovers a card on the salesman's body with a message instructing him to meet the frontman at a club in 4 days. At this moment, Junho arrives and tries to capture Seong, but Woo-seok knocks Junho unconscious from behind. When Junho regains consciousness, he tells Seong about his experience in the game while searching for his brother. He recalls meeting Seong during the game and asking if Seong knew anything about him. Seong admits that the now-deceased salesman was the one recruiting players and ultimately got caught in his own game. Seong mentions the opportunity he has to meet the frontman, who had once revealed that the game was created for the entertainment of the rich. Junho says he has seen those VIPs himself and offers to help Seong, as he is haunted by the memories of the victims. Seong agrees and shows Junho and Woo-seok the weapons he has gathered over the years. However, Seong stresses that they'll need more help to take down the operation. We are then introduced to a new female character, No-ul, who works as a seamstress. A little girl thanks her for a candy treat. We learn that this girl has blood cancer and her father earns money by painting outdoors. Elsewhere, a detective informs Seong that they've located Kang and Bae's mother in a North Korean prison and that agents will soon bring her out. Later, No-ul meets the detective, who tells her he searched for her daughter in North Korea but couldn't find her. No-ul pays the detective and asks him to search again. The detective explains that she killed her country's soldier and betrayed her nation, leaving her daughter behind. He suggests that the military might not have spared her daughter. In the next scene, a man gives No-ul a Squid Game card. Seong's team implants a GPS tracker in his tooth to track him anytime. Seong then heads to the club to meet the frontman. A guard escorts him inside. Meanwhile, Junho tracks Seong but finds Woo-seok unconscious. He follows Seong's tracker and sees him leaving the club in a limousine with the frontman. Inside the car, the frontman advises Seong to enjoy his wealth and live peacefully with his daughter. Seong counters, saying he wants to meet the mastermind and stop the game for good. The frontman replies that players join the game voluntarily. Seong argues that they exploit the players' poverty and force them into the game under the guise of money. The frontman dismisses this, stating that these players are already defeated in life and that the game will continue as long as the world remains the same. Seong's team tries to follow the limousine, but snipers disable their vehicle. The frontman confidently declares that Seong's team is powerless to stop them and that the game cannot be shut down. In a desperate move, Seong requests to join the game again, claiming that people will enjoy watching him play once more. The frontman agrees, and gas fills the limousine, knocking Seong unconscious. We see that the frontman is seated right next to the driver. Meanwhile, No-ul enters a room marked 11, and it's revealed that she's not a player but a member of the guards team. The next day, Junho and his team arrive at a dock, suspecting that Seong is being taken back to the island for the game. They resolve to locate and save him. When Seong regains consciousness, he realizes he's already in the game. To his surprise, he is player 456 again. The episode introduces new players, including a mother-daughter duo. Jung is a compulsive gambler who has lost significant money. His mother secretly joins the game to repay his debts. Another couple, Junhee and Lee, also participates. Lee is a YouTuber who lost his followers' money in cryptocurrency investments, leading to financial ruin and breaking up with Junhee, who is 9 months pregnant. She joins the game to secure a future for her child. We also meet Thonos, a famous rapper, and Jung Dae, who owes 10 billion won in debt. The guards address the players, revealing the massive debts each owes and offering them the chance to clear their financial burdens by playing 6 games in 6 days. The prize for the winners is 45 billion won. A new rule is introduced. After every game, players can vote to continue or stop. If the majority votes to stop, the prize money will be equally divided among the surviving players. The players sign contracts and are escorted to the ground for the first game. Seong reunites with an old friend, Jung, whom he hasn't seen in 3 years. Seong advises Jung to stay close to him for safety. As the game begins, Seong warns everyone that it's not as simple as it seems. A girl moves during red light and is shot, causing panic. Players run in fear, only to be shot by snipers. Seong calms the players, urging them to stay still. Seong notices Noel observing the game, realizing that Noel's father is among the players. Unlike in Season 1, most players are shot in the legs instead of being killed. This detail is expected to play a role later in the series. Seong crosses the finish line and returns to help an injured player. A young woman assists him, and together they cross the line, but Noel kills the injured man. Meanwhile, Junho discovers that Seong's tracker was removed and finds it inside a fish. A fisherman tells him it was bait given to him by a stranger. After the first game, 365 players remain. According to the rules, they must now vote. The guards display the prize money, totaling 24 million won per person if distributed equally. For most, this amount is insufficient to cover their debts. The guards explain that playing additional games could yield more money. The players are divided into two groups: Team O, who want to continue playing, and Team X, who want to go home. Seong tries to convince everyone that continuing the game will lead to their deaths. He reveals that he has played and won the game before. Players like Thonos and Jung urge Seong to help them win since he has previous experience. The vote ends in a tie, with player 1, In-hun, casting the deciding vote to continue the game. This deeply saddens Seong, as he had hoped to save everyone. In-hun approaches Seong, saying he can assist him since he has also played and won the game before. In-hun admits that he pressed the button to stop the game last time. The second game, In-hun asks Seong about the next game. Seong recalls the Dalgona game, where players had to carve shapes out of sugar candy. He explains that the triangle is the easiest shape, while the umbrella is the hardest. In-hun questions why Seong returned if he had already won. Seong explains that the money wasn't his, it belonged to the people who had died in the game. In-hun dismisses this, saying the game shouldn't be taken so seriously. Jung advises everyone to focus on forming teams for the next game. Dae-hoo, a former Marine, joins their group, while Thonos confronts Lee over the money he lost in cryptocurrency. A fight breaks out, but In-hun intervenes and stops Thonos by beating him. In-hoo's apology and backstory. Later that night, In-hoo approaches Seong to apologize for his rude behavior earlier. In-hoo shares his tragic story. His wife is gravely ill and needs a liver transplant, which requires a substantial amount of money. He also reveals that he recently discovered she is pregnant. In-hoo had suggested an abortion, but his wife refused. With mounting debts and accusations of bribery at his job, which led to his dismissal, this deadly game became his last hope to secure the money to save his wife and unborn child. Meanwhile, the guards are seen extracting organs from the corpses. However, they are frustrated because most organs have deteriorated. This is due to No-Yul shooting players directly in the head, causing rapid organ failure. The guards report this issue to their boss, the Masked Man. No-Yul meets with the Masked Man, who questions her about shooting players directly in the head. She explains that she did it because they were still alive. The Masked Man recalls their first meeting 7 years ago in a filthy hospital in Korea, where she was on the brink of death. He saved her, impressed by her skills, particularly her ability to escape from North Korea to South Korea after taking out an entire search team with a sniper rifle. The Masked Man reassures her that she need not fear being caught this time. Previously, they relied on an external doctor for organ extraction, but now they have a doctor on their team. He reminds her that their mission is to give freedom to those who have lost all hope. Additionally, the harvested organs can save others' lives, making this operation justifiable. Reluctantly, Noel leaves the room. Junho's search and the second game. Junho teams up with Woo-seok to find the island. They decide to split into two groups for a faster search. Meanwhile, the players are brought to the ground for the next game, which turns out to be something other than the expected Dalgona game. This angers Jung, Dae, and others, who accuse Seong of lying. However, In-hoo defends Seong, saying he still trusts him. The second game, Six-Legged Pentathlon. The game requires teams of 5 to compete in 5 minigames, covering a 10-meter distance within a circular arena. Each minigame must be completed within 5 minutes to advance to the next stage. The games are 1. Dagchi, 2. Flying Stone, 3. Gongi, 4. Spinning Top, 5. Jaggi. The players' legs are tied together. and failure to complete a game in time results in execution. Players form teams for the game. Lee approaches Junhee, who is pregnant, asking her to join his team, but she refuses. Later, Junhee asks Seong to include her in his team. The game begins, and failures lead to immediate elimination. During the game, a guard escorts a player who is still alive, but Noel kills him to prevent his survival. Seong's team advances steadily. Junhee excels at Dakchi. Jung wins the Flying Stone game. Daehoo triumphs in Gongi. Inhu struggles with the spinning top game, but eventually succeeds. In the final round, Seong skillfully completes Jaggi by juggling the object 5 times with his foot. The team crosses the finish line just in time. Back in her room, Noel is confronted by 2 guards. She attempts to fight them but fails. They warn her against interfering in their operations again, slashing her face as a warning. After the game, voting and player count. Following the game, the guards inform the players that 110 participants were killed, leaving 255 remaining. The guards add that if they decide to leave now, each person would receive 34 million won. A second round of voting begins, starting with player 1. This time, Inhu votes to leave the game, attempting to convince others that if they stay, everyone will eventually die. However, Jung argues that the money offered is insufficient even to pay off the interest on his debts. The votes are cast, and Team O wins, meaning the majority votes to continue the game. Jung votes to stay, which angers Seong. Jung apologizes to Seong, explaining that he owes a significant amount of money to dangerous people who have threatened to kill his family if he doesn't. Seong warns the group to take turns guarding each other at night, since players might attack one another for money, and such acts are part of the game. The guards won't intervene in these situations. Night watch and conversations. That night, Jung and Seong take the first watch. Jung reminisces about the time he asked Seong for money when his mother was ill, but Seong genuinely didn't have any at the time. Jung then asks why Seong returned to the game despite already having enough money. Seong responds that if Jung were to die in front of him, all the money would become meaningless. He shares his desire to bring everyone out alive, but laments that he cannot change their mindset. The next day, players are brought into a large hall with a circle drawn in the middle. The third game is introduced as Mingle, with simple rules. As the circle rotates, players are assigned a number. They must form teams of that number and lock themselves in a room. Any players left outside will be executed. The game begins. Round 1, the number is 10. Seong's team allies with another and wins the round. Round 2, the number is 4. Inhu decides to stay outside while the other 4 members enter a room. Seong is worried for Inhu, but he survives with the team. Round 3, the number is 3. Seong and Inhu stay together, sending the remaining 3 players into a room. During this round, a player named Jung abandons her mother, which deeply saddens her. However, Seong and Inhu manage to save her mother, leading to an emotional reunion where Jung apologizes to her mother. The game's final round leaves 126 players remaining. Yu announces that the next number will be 2, as there are 126 players left and 50 rooms. This means 26 players will be eliminated. As the number is announced, chaos ensues as players scramble to pair up and find rooms. Inhu and Jung enter a room where they encounter another player already inside. Inhu kills him to ensure their survival, knowing that otherwise, all 3 of them would die. Seong's plan for unity. After the game, Seong tells Inhu that they need to start counting players to gain an advantage in voting. Daehoo reveals that he has already the players on their side, but their numbers are fewer than the opposing group. Seong suggests they try to win over the remaining players to their side, but Inhu dismisses the idea, pointing out that people like Jung want the game to continue at all costs. The players grow increasingly frustrated with the situation. Seong realizes that forcing people to vote might spark a fight before voting even begins. Just then, the guards announce that only 100 players remain, and that if they decide to end the game now, each will receive 365 million won. Voting resumes, but this time it ends in a tie. The guards inform them that a second round of voting will occur the next day, giving everyone time to think. However, Seong suspects this delay is designed to provoke a fight during the night. Meanwhile, Junho and his team explore an island where they discover a hidden door. When they attempt to open it, an explosion occurs, killing one teammate and injuring another. Despite this, Junho insists on continuing, determined to avenge their fallen friends. He concludes that the game organizers are aware of their movements and have set traps. To avoid detection, Junho orders his team to stop using radios and phones. The night attack and strategic moves. At night, a guard notices Park tampering with a drone in the weapons room. Park kills the guard and tells Woo Sok that he heard noises from the ship's equipment, justifying his actions. Meanwhile, Seong notices that the game organizers have deliberately included forks with their meals, potentially encouraging players to use them as weapons. In the bathroom, Thonos confronts Minsu for voting to leave the game, leading to a fight. Lee intervenes and kills Thonos, resulting in 5 deaths, 3 from Team O and 2 from Team X. Jung becomes enraged at the loss, realizing that fewer members in his team could cost them the vote. Seong warns everyone that the organizers want them to fight among themselves and suggests they attack the organizers instead. He explains that the guards won't kill all the players, but are stationed in a control room led by the front man. If they capture and kill him, the game could end. Seong proposes hiding under the beds and waiting for the guards to conduct their body checks, at which point they could ambush them and seize their weapons. The final stand! When the lights go out, Team O attacks Team X, killing several players. Seong and his group hide under the beds to survive. Eventually, the guards enter to check the bodies, and Seong's group ambushes them, seizing their weapons and killing most of the guards. They capture one guard, only to discover he's just a young boy. Seong convinces the group to storm the headquarters, asking those familiar with firearms to assist. Using the captured guard's mask, Seong and Jung access the control room while others hold off reinforcements. However, the group runs out of ammunition, and Seong sends In-hoo to collect bullets from fallen guards in the hall. In-hoo notices a map along the way and finds an alternative route to the control room. He takes 2 players with him and successfully eliminates more guards. Meanwhile, Uni searches for Dae-hoo in the hall and finds him paralyzed with fear. She retrieves the ammunition, but guards intercept her on the way back. With no ammunition left, most players surrender, only to be executed by the guards. Seong and Jung also surrender, and the frontman confronts them. He asks Seong what he hoped to achieve and warns him of the price he must pay. The frontman kills Jung, leaving Seong devastated. The season ends with Seong broken and defeated, setting the stage for a potential continuation in the next season. This concludes Squid Game Season 2. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more thrilling summaries. See you in the next one. Spread love and take care.